Hello everybody, my name is David and I'm pleased to present this research co-authored with Ramon Gil and Vanessa Fernandez. The presentation is entitled Towards Smarter Public Budgeting, Understanding the Potential of Artificial Intelligence Techniques to Support Decision-Making in Government. The presentation is divided into 6 parts. First, I will show you the introduction of the topic and the objective. Then, I will present to you the literature review on artificial intelligence and public budget. In the next stage, I will explain to you the methods used for data analysis with the aim to show you the discussion of results and finally present to you the conclusions and future work. Well, we propose 4 ideas to justify the study of the public budget in an artificial intelligence view. First, that one of the goals of science is finding models that fit or explain data observed in complex social phenomena. Secondly, that artificial intelligence techniques allow, through their algorithms and mathematical models, the generation of alternative solutions that cannot always be achieved by traditional methods. Third, it consists of the fact that artificial intelligence has become an important issue on the agenda of governments throughout the world. Fourth, the study of public budgeting through artificial intelligence techniques is practically not existent, and the Mexican context is not an exception. In this manner, artificial intelligence has the potential to be a powerful tool to improve decision-making. So, the aim of this paper is to explore the potential of artificial intelligence techniques in the public budget planning stage. In the study of the literature review of artificial intelligence and the public sector, we found 4 seminal works. The first idea is that artificial intelligence in government is an area of recent research that has been recently growing. Furthermore, Son and Medaglia identify 7 types of challenges to the adoption of artificial intelligence in the public healthcare. These challenges are related to social, economical, ethical, political, legal and policy challenges, organizational and managerial, data, and they're related to the technological issues. Androtsopoulos and colleagues present a novel approach and the architecture of a platform for the advanced exploitation of artificial intelligence technology in the public sector. In this manner, they try to improve the communication between government and citizens. Engine and Trelevin propose the term algorithmic government, based on an architecture that allows governments and the computer science community to work together to support public managers and government officials through intelligent information systems and smartness in government. Public budgeting has been studied for many years since it represents one of the main instruments of governmental control. Musgrave and Musgrave raise the need to have a control system over what and how the government carries out planning, programming, legislation, contracting, execution, and public spending. For this reason, public budgeting is an important topic of study since public policy depends on it and they have an impact on the economy and on the society. Particularly the functional classification considered as the programmable expenditure is destined to provide public goods and services to the population, and it is classified into social development that is composed of public spending in terms of social protection, education, health, housing and services, environmental protection, recreation, culture, and other social issues. This affects the well-being of society in terms of quality of life and public value in addition to per capita income. Secondly, we have economic value that includes government investment in energy, transportation, primary sectors of the economy, such as forestry, fisheries, hunting, and agriculture, and includes research and development, technology, and innovation, as well as economic trade and labor issues, communication, and tourism. Third, government operational expenditures that are related to public spending on justice, national security, law enforcement and internal security, government policy coordination and legislation, as well as other general services provided by the government. Finally, we have the non-programmable expenditures that are related to the public spending of its financial obligations, such as transfers to the states and municipalities and the payment of the foreign debt. Some important issues that could affect public budget are that public budget should be more flexible. It is needed to evaluate the effectiveness of government programs and improve faster spending review processes. It is important too to make budget negotiations and information transparent and to improve the planning stage. In this manner, public budgeting is a problem of limited resources. When resources are limited relative to the demand for capital projects and programs, governments are often forced to accept less desirable projects, creating what is commonly known as a capital rationing problem. Optimization models, especially mathematical programming and artificial intelligence, provide a viable alternative to the limitations of the conventional methods. These methods are extensively used in the private sector, but their use has been extremely limited in government. The gross domestic product represents the economic growth of a country and is affected by public spending, which is called the multiplier effect, that depends fundamentally on the propensity to spend of individuals and companies, since an increase in government spending implies that both production and aggregate demand increase. One way to understand GDP is the consumption by households and non-profit institutions, investment by firms and families, final consumption expenditure by the public sector, and the value of exports minus the value of imports. Generally, inflation is generated by an increase in GDP or by the abuse of policies that promote public spending increase in recessions periods. Some of the issues that has been studied in the scientific literature related to public budget are poverty, health, services, environment, population and migration, and welfare. These issues conform the social development. Related to economic development, we identified energy, infrastructure and investment, research and development. Finally, related to government, we identified government policy and finance. Well, in general terms, decisions about public budgeting are fundamental for changing public spending, creating a multiplier effect that results in economic growth or inflation. On the other hand, and related to this study, de Souza identified that artificial neural networks is the most recurrent technique in the investigated studies and was pointed out as a technique that provides positive results in several areas of its application. Another area is genetic algorithms. All of this lead me to the methods applied to data. Related to artificial neural networks are a useful technique for prediction and classification problems. An artificial neural network is an information processing paradigm inspired by the functioning of the brain and are made up of processing elements called neurons that work together to solve a specific problem and are based on the mathematical model of McCulloch and Pitts. Each neuron receives a set of inputs and returns an output. Within the artificial neural network, there are different connections between the different neurons that make them up. These connections are established with different levels of intensity called synaptic width or synapses, and each input of a neuron is affected by the weight. It has been found in the literature that artificial neural networks have generated better models than traditional statistics such as regression models or cluster analysis. Another important technique in artificial intelligence is genetic algorithms. The main use of genetic algorithms is to solve optimization problems and work based on adaptive processes in natural systems. This technique finds solutions in complex adaptive spaces and using stochastic methods. The representation of the domain of genetic algorithms can be done with binary strings, networks, ordered list, or real parameters vectors. A binary chain represents chromosomes composed of binary units called genes. The total genetic package is called genotype, and the interaction of the genotype with its environment is called phenotype, which results in the decoding of the chromosomes to obtain an alternative solution. The functioning of genetic algorithm is based on 6 parameters: population size, selection, fitness function, crossover rate, mutation rate, and generations. Well, our data analysis is based in 5 stages. The first stage is data selection related to public budget in Mexico. Then we analyze data with artificial neural networks to identify the main factors and generate equations. These equations are used to the fitness of genetic algorithm. The fourth stage is related to the genetic algorithm optimization based on the equations generated by artificial neural networks. And finally, we analyze the results of the optimization of the public budget. We tested 6 artificial neural networks architectures to generate the equations that would best fit the data, based on the lowest average quadratic error. We generated a model to optimize the GDP and inflation. Based on the possible combinations of public budget for social development, economic development, and non-programmable expenses, the generated equations were evaluated with different values of the parameters of the genetic algorithm until the optimal state was obtained. Some simulations took up to a week. In our model, the most important factors identified are related to finance, services, communications, government, energy, transport, and health. The best case scenario identified in the use of artificial intelligence techniques indicates promoting social and economic development as well as non-programmable expenditure. Our results suggest increasing spending in the health sector and improving the accessibility and availability of health services, as well as encouraging the government and pharmaceutical companies to negotiate to set medicine prices for the benefit of citizens. The improving of social development requires citizens' sanitation habits because it's poor and has a high social cost. Similarly, disaster prevention will improve or save public resources with preventive rather than corrective plans. In terms of the use of artificial intelligence techniques for the public budgeting process, there are some important challenges to consider. For instance, finding good data that can be automatically exploited through artificial intelligence to generate accurate models is not always easy. Furthermore, the processing time of some simulations is considerably high, as current technology does not have sufficient capacity to provide an almost immediate or real-time response. In this research, we argued that our results could be useful to support government decision-making, particularly decisions regarding to the allocation of resources included in the budget of the Mexican federal government. First, in general terms, it was found that the Mexican federal government should consider fostering economic and social development. Due to the stagnation of the economy since 2018, this situation could incentivize economic growth. In addition, it is recommended not to generate internal expenditures in the government, maintain the public spending contained, and be more effective in executing public spending. This is not something new and is consistent with economic theories and financial practices. However, the fact that the results of the artificial intelligence techniques also point in this direction shows that these techniques could be promising as tools to support government decision-making. Consequently, we argue that the use of artificial intelligence techniques in government as a tool for data analysis has the potential to support better decision making by reinforcing existing good practices and by providing additional evidence to support them. For the future work, we should analyze more data related to different activities included in the public budget and also using other artificial intelligence techniques. Future studies should also explore the potential of this type of analysis in other policy domains and government functions. Thank you very much for your attention.